Being an amazing product marketing leader doesn't happen by chance. It happens by habit. Product marketing certified leadership has been built on the back of decades worth of experience from some of the world's best known brands with one goal in mind: helping you be the best leader you can be. Crammed with real life case studies, over 12 hours worth of content, templates, exams, and more, this course is everything you need to lead with authority, confidence, influence, and innovation. Every piece of material within the 7 modules and 29 chapters has been vetted, tested, and approved by senior level product marketers from companies like Amazon, Uber, and HubSpot, serving up game-changing insights throughout. By the time you've wrapped up the final module, you'll be able to define what it takes to be a great product marketing leader, build and scale your team, understand how to successfully manage your existing team, use methods for leveraging data, know how to become the voice of the customer, understand how teams work cross-functionally, and improve your strategic thinking. The beauty of the course is you'll have the freedom to work your way through the modules at a pace to suit you. It's 100% self-paced. You'll even get lifetime access to the curriculum, paving the way for refresher sessions forevermore. Visit productmarketingalliance.com to get leadership certified and spearhead your journey to the top.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the session. This is the Marketer's Guide to Building a Developer Program. My name is Dinesh Chandrasekhar. I run product marketing for the Data and Motion product line at Cloudera. A little bit about me. I've worn many different hats over the years. As a developer, as an architect, I myself have been a developer evangelist at a couple of companies. And so today as a product marketer, I have a very unique perspective of what it takes to build a developer program at various companies. So I'm here to share my insights, my own experiences with you today. Let's first define the phrase developer marketing. Let's call that out as a paradox because there is no such thing as marketing to a developer. Developers are the best when it comes to sniffing out marketing messages, and they'll clearly call it out. So you have to have a clear strategy, a different strategy than your traditional marketing means in order to connect with your developer community. So how does it work if you are to enable, empower, and embrace developers? Because this is very important to them. The fundamental philosophy is that never market to them, right? So that's there. But how do you even connect with a breed of personas that detest marketing language? How do you embrace them and empower them when they are trying to learn, try and adopt your product, but at the same time, you are not supposed to use any kind of flowery marketing language? They are excited about new tech. They love new technology. But to them, time is currency, which means they need whatever they need right then and there. They cannot go through sign-up processes. They cannot go through long processes of engaging with sales teams and so forth. If they want an API, they need it yesterday. And the important thing that I also want to emphasize is that they love being part of a larger community. And this is where they get to share best practices, code samples, and so forth. So for you to be successful with engaging with developers, you need to give them that platform, that sense of community in order to build the trust with them. Developers, developers, developers. We have heard this time and again. Classic Steve Ballmer at work like more than a couple of decades ago. But the reality holds true even today, right? 27 million developers across the world. And the amount of products that we are talking about is like over $40 billion of worth of products that are being consumed or influenced or purchased by developers. And we're looking at least a growth of like over trillion APIs by 2035. So this is truly a massive market opportunity for us to like tap into as marketers. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that the product adoption starts with them, the buyer's journey starts with them. They tend to use our products, they acknowledge that they like it, and then they become the champions. They evangelize it, they talk about it within their companies and make it work for us. So in order to be successful with a bottom-up approach, you need to be able to make sure that you are giving them enough for you to for them to like trust in you, for them to try out the products, for them to become those champions. So in order to do so, you need a developer program. Let's discuss what a developer program is and understand what it takes to build one in the subsequent sections. What is a developer program and why do you need one? So if we are to agree that nothing that is considered traditional marketing works for developers, how else are we supposed to connect with them? How else are we supposed to embrace them and empower them? You need a specialist team. You need a team which we will refer to as the DevRel team or the developer relations team in the subsequent section. But that team and the resources that you offer to this development community are super critical in order to engage with the developers. There needs to be a constant care in building and nurturing and enriching this community, this developer community, in order for you to gain their trust. And it is important as well to build and preserve this trust with an ongoing focus with whatever you do in however you communicate and engage with these developers. So this is what a developer program offers, the construct, the framework within which these specialist teams and the resources can work within. A developer experience is also another term that you would have heard when you are looking for an alternative for developer program. A developer experience is a more richer, broader way to like define what a developer program is, because it does include the people, the tools that they use in order to communicate and engage or connect with the developers, the processes that you adopt. Again, remember, developers don't like elaborate processes, but processes are critical in order to be successful for you to measure the success of a developer program. The content that you offer to the developers, whether it be rich technical content or documentation or API docs or whatever you deliver to them, that needs to also resonate very well as a part of this experience. And the events, the platform that you offer, the community with which they can exchange various best practices and thoughts and inputs and have those discussions in an open forum. All that contribute or factor into this thing that we term as developer experience. This is what the developer receives as a factor of love when they work with you as a company, when they work with your products in order to gain the mutual trust that we spoke about. So when would you need a developer program? What are the types of offerings that you would typically have that warrant a developer program? Because remember, not all products require a developer program. So let's kind of distinguish and identify which ones need so. First off, a PaaS type offering like Salesforce.com. They've been phenomenal at offering a platform where other companies, other developers can build their own applications on top of that. So exposing that kind of a platform makes it possible. Or a marketplace offering like the App Store from Apple, which allows you as a developer to build applications that then can serve up for other customers as well. So providing that kind of a platform as well is a great way to like nurture a developer program. The second one is APIs, right? So if you are a product offering that has APIs and you want developers to consume, classic, you need a developer program, period. Developer tools, which is again something like a Microsoft Visual Studio, for example, which offers the IDE to developers so that they can build all different types of applications using a variety of programming languages. So this, in a sense, is what we term as a classic example of where you would need a developer program. Open source products. I deal with this day in and day out over the last 4 years. I talk to open source communities. I engage with them. I offer various ways, content, mechanisms, events, you name it, the whole developer program that is needed to like engage with this community. So, open source means developers, period. And if your product's primary end users are developers, meaning your developers are instrumental in building programs that enable other end users within the platform as well. So that could be another way how you can think of as a need for a developer program for your set of products. So in a sense, these are the types of products, not necessarily the finite list, but broad strokes of when you can think of you wanting a developer program. Where does one start to build a developer program? This question came to me a few years ago. I'll give you a little anecdote, and then you can kind of start pondering that for yourself. Why is this a marketer's guide to begin with, right? So why not an engineer's guide or somebody else's guide? A marketer's guide primarily because a marketer is in kind of like in the nexus of things that are happening within the company, particularly a product marketer like me. I engage with engineering, product management, sales leadership, and so many different teams cross-functionally that I am right in the crux of all this action happening, and I'm kind of the liaison between all these different teams. And I've been doing this over the last several companies that I've been working with. One such company was CA Technologies. So it was going back like 6-7 years ago when I was tasked with like launching a mobile backend as a service product, which was primarily an SDK. I realized that CA did not have a developer-facing front end, no developer portal per se, to connect or communicate with developers. They've never done that because they never had a developer product until that point. So I ended up launching developer.ca.com for the first time. And the experience that I learned from that in implementing that developer program, in building this developer portal, is what I'm sharing with you today. So what is the process to kick off a developer program? It's kind of like almost best practices that I learned when I built that developer program at CA, I'm sharing with you. First order of business, executive buy-in. First and foremost, you need to do this because a developer program is not done overnight. It is not built within like 3 months and you're going to like see the fruits of your labor right then and there. It takes time to build, meaning there is a lot of engagement. You need time to build that community from ground up and so forth. So which means 12 to 18 months is what you're looking at in terms of seeing actual results from your developer program. So you need to have executive buy-in in order to stay focused on your program and have that backing behind you. Second thing, Tiger Team. Get all the stakeholders lined up for you. This would be across product management, engineering, sales, and so forth. Make sure everybody understands what you're doing as a developer program and why we are doing it. Nobody would understand it if you are starting off with a company like that, where I was, where they've never done or had a developer program before. So if you are in one such company, if you're starting afresh, you need to educate everyone first. You need to make sure that you tell them what a developer program is. I did this by hiring a third-party agency and coaching all of us in one single room, right? So get all the stakeholders, the Tiger Team in one room and have the third-party agency train us on what a developer program is, set goals, understand what metrics we should be measuring and monitoring. Success metrics. It's not easy. When it comes to developer programs, I'll guarantee you you're going to have multiple opinions from multiple people on what we should be measuring. But the reality is that you should stay focused on what is practical and what you should be measuring for a developer program. I'll go into a little bit more details on what those metrics look like in a couple of slides. Project plan. Have a project plan clearly defined so that you have short-term timelines of when certain deliverables will be delivered, as well as long-term of when certain things might happen. This is very critical for all the stakeholders, again, to be in sync with how the developer program is progressing. Have weekly syncs with all of them. Keep them updated on status and progress as well. A developer portal is kind of like one of those immediate gratification things, right? So instant gratification, as they say, it won't be instant. You need time to build it. You need time to build content and add content and all that too. But this is one of the first things that you will see internally as well as externally as the face of the developer program. This will be the facade, through which the developers interface with your company, with your products, as well as you kind of offering various types of content and engagements to the developers through this. So every company has one. Again, companies that have developer products will have a developer portal through which they offer API docs, technical documentation, and so forth. And the way to do that, again, from an engagement standpoint, is also having a DevRel team. So your first hire might be a developer advocate or a developer evangelist, and you want to make sure that that person starts off on the right foot using the portal as a mechanism, but also not just the portal, but through social media and through other such channels, a multi-channel approach into engaging with the developers and the development community. While you may start off with just one evangelist and one advocate, you will grow. You will see the need for having a community manager, a DevRel director, a team of DevRel evangelists, and so forth. So you will have more people on the team as you start seeing the program expand and the needs for more content arise. Do's and don'ts of a developer program. Let's start about that. First off, the do's. Facilitate interactions between the various teams, DevRel, engineering, PM, marketing, and others. You primarily use this developer program as a way to interact and interface with all these cross-functional teams. That's internal. Externally, you're allowing the developers to easily access resources they're looking for. Again, quick is the word, keyword here. Make sure that they can access these resources instantly and immediately, not through having to jump through hoops and various processes. Encourage the community to share best practices, code, samples, conversations, right? And these need not be, again, within just through a particular forum, but they can be doing it through Slack, they can be doing it on Stack Overflow, various different, channels. But the idea is to encourage them. And then you can also offer your own ways of these types of interfacing, meetups, hackathons, Slack channels, more developer events, and so forth as well. The don'ts are primarily don't use marketing lingo. Developers can sniff that out very easily. Don't also expect leads from engagement, sales revenues from all this. It'll all happen. Eventually it'll happen, but don't expect those right away. And also don't expect or set up a program where you can track developers automatically going into MQLs and all that. That won't work either. You need to make sure that you have a way to correlate the developer engagements with this. For example, APIs. If you set up an API, and if you have consumption happening based on a particular engagement that you did, let's say a developer talk was done, and then following that, suddenly there's a surge of your API's consumption, that automatically is the correlation that you can link it to. Don't send too many emails as well for lead nurturing, which is also a big turnoff for developers. It's okay to send emails, but the emails should be more like newsletter types that include content, that include technical content that matters to them, that include product updates, that ask them for input and things which make more sense for the developers in their language rather than sending marketing language. And also don't invite developers for marketing events. They don't like it. Measuring success of your developer program. So this is what it'll boil down to, right? So product metrics are primarily about number of calls being made to your API, as I just explained, or number of downloads of your trial or your SDK as well. That's also a good measure. But more importantly or interestingly is the number of product feedback inputs that you get from the community. See, this is truly telling of your engagement skills within the community. The more you engage with the community, the more trust you build, they're going to give you more inputs about your product of what works and what doesn't work, how it could be better, and so forth. The second thing is community level metrics. Again, as marketers, we all tend to understand communities to a fair degree, right? So we can measure number of community members, the monthly growth, and all that, pretty standard. You can also look at social media metrics, likes, follows, and all that kind of stuff. But if you are looking at, let's say, having a separate account, a social media account for your dev channel, for your dev program, then that would be different, because now you are tracking specifically for that particular channel, the engagements that occur with that and all that. So you might probably even need a specialized social media manager for your own DevRel team as well, which could be the case. But again, it depends on your company and your corporate strategy and so forth. You may choose to have the same channel for one and the both, but it's important to track the engagement from those levels as well. Last but not least, the experience metrics are very critical for us, right? Experience metrics are where you understand the number of users and signups to the site across multi-channels. That's very simple, right? So maybe that's measurable. But what is most important and interesting and even more harder to measure is the developer satisfaction scores. So the more you engage with them, how much they trust in you, how much they feel happy with the whole overall developer experience that you offer as a company and as a product is where it truly kicks in, right? So that's where you start realizing that the developers and the community actually love your product, actually love your company, actually love the way you present it to them, actually love the way you engage with them. Last but not least, gamification metrics. These are also fantastic ways to engage your developer community. Microsoft was master at this years ago when they created the MVP program, having various different types of honors and badges and things like that. And so many companies have adopted different types of models going about this as well. And I would encourage you to think about that, because that's how you grow champions beyond your company. It's okay that you can hire a few people that can speak for you about your product and so forth. But that's like paid engagements, or your own employees talking about it. But unwarranted, unsolicited, great championing on their own is something that you will not be able to get unless and until you are doing a great job at this developer engagement with this developer program. And that's what happens when truly great, awesome products are delivered to developers the right way. Developers become the champions for you. They start talking about it within their own companies. Look at how awesome this product is. We should all adopt this. So that's where the whole land and expand opportunities come in play, where one set of developers love it within a large company, they start talking about it to the larger developer community within that company, and your product automatically gets adopted within that company. That's how you grow. So I'll leave you with this last thought. The amount of time that it takes a developer program to be successful from baseline to growth is measured in years, not months or quarters. I cannot emphasize this more, right? It's so important to talk about this right now, because as you start embarking on this journey to building a developer program within your company, you will realize that there are many stakeholders that are going to ask you, hey, what are you guys doing? I know you have your dev team, they're talking with developers and all that. Where do I see any metrics or measurable, quantifiable metrics that say that you guys are doing a good job? And that's where this particular statement should be taken with a lot of, more than a pinch of salt, I would say, because you need to understand that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes work. Time is a currency for developers, as well as it's an investment for us as well. You need to invest the time in your developer community. You need to nurture them. You need to grow them, build that trust. That's most important. You have to come across as credible. You have to win their trust. And that's when they become the champions. Then you start seeing the fruits of labor come in play. Then you start seeing your pipeline automatically grow. Then you start seeing more inbound conversations coming in through saying, we would like to have your company come in and do XYZ deal or opportunity or a conversation or an engagement or even an RFP and things like that with you automatically. That's what happens. So good luck to you in building your developer program. I want to make sure that you walk away with these key insights that I've gathered over my years of experience, and I hope you found that useful. Thank you so much for joining my session today. I hope you found it valuable. Look forward to meeting you in person one of these days.